Everybody says what they want to say behind the screen.
I would love to become anonymous.
What's going on, everybody? It's Ted again here with the countdowntothegeeks.com, and I have a very special interview for you guys. She is a college graduate. She's got a doctorate. She's also a Sports Illustrated swimsuit model, and you can catch her every Monday night stuck in a house with other strangers trying to win what is arguably the best reality series competition show out there, The Anonymous. Victoria Vesce, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm wonderful because I've been able to catch up on this show. You've got 8 episodes that have already aired. You specifically, you joined the show about 4 episodes in, and right off the bat, what is it like going into a reality show? I sort of have anxiety just the thought of it, being filmed nonstop every day, especially coming into a show, a competition show where there's already people who know what's happening, but you're coming in sort of blind to everything. What was that experience like?
I feel like it was kind of like an advantage for me, but also a disadvantage because everyone had like started making friendships and getting to know each other. I definitely was a little nervous about all the cameras, but in my head, I was like, I've never done a reality show, so this is my first time ever doing anything TV. But in my head, I'm like, let's just treat this as like a photo shoot, a modeling shoot that's nonstop. So I got used to it pretty quick. It wasn't like something that was very scary to me, but it was like crazy when you woke up. I woke up and I would look up and there's a camera right above my head. It was like, okay, this is for real, for real. But going in, I was just really excited to meet everyone, and it was fun. I honestly, it was fun going in as a bombshell and like shaking things up.
Absolutely. And I love the premise of the show. It sort of is a amalgamation of other reality shows that I kind of love. Um, but man, it's such a bizarre concept that you guys can work as a team to kind of build money for yourselves as a group, the pot, overall pot. But then as soon as you guys are behind these chat windows, all hell breaks loose and the nails come out and the knives come out. How does that give you anxiety? Is that like overwhelming to kind of go through all those roller coaster of emotions?
I feel like, obviously you see on TV like us going about our day, going through a challenge, going through, talking to each other, reality portion, trying to figure everything out, and then going into the hideouts and like getting into anonymous mode. And it all kind of like happens so fast. You feel like, oh, I have a little bit of time here, but it's not. It is just as fast paced as you are watching on TV.
Wow.
So I think for me, it was just like, okay, I got to keep up. Like from the get go, like we get in, we get into anonymous mode, we pick our handle, we're just like already in the game, and it's just like, all right, we got to keep going. Like there's something going on like every second of the day, and yeah, it was just for me is like to keep my energy up. I wasn't really like nervous at all. I was just more like, okay, I got to get in the game mindset. There's no like, okay, I have a little bit of a break to take some time and get to know everyone. You had to like, sorry, that's my dog, but you had to
You're
get
good.
in like the mindset immediately. So yeah, that was just like for me was just honestly keeping my energy up throughout the game because there was just so many twists and turns and you never knew what Danny was going to hit you with.
Oh my gosh, there's some fantastic twists and turns, especially this last one, which I guess I will wait for the folks at home to go ahead and watch and catch up on. I don't want to give anything away. But did you have like a specific strategy? I'm trying to figure out what I would do in like certain situations, but honestly, like I feel like I don't have a great poker face. I wouldn't be able to pretend I'm talking as somebody else. Did you have a mindset or a strategy like going into the show, or did it kind of develop over time?
Going into the show, I knew I wanted to I knew I didn't want to come out with like a big personality or anything. I knew I kind of wanted to stay a little bit under the radar. I wanted to shake things up. I also wanted to try to be friends with everyone. So you don't really get to see a lot of the reality portion because there's so many contestants to cover at first. But like I'm really trying to like work the room and be friends with everyone, get to know everyone. I'm being honest about like who I am as a person, like outside of the house. And I know a lot of people are like lying about their professions or whatever. That was something going into the game like I didn't want to do. I was just like I'm going to be very genuine, upfront, honest, like so everyone could trust me. But like once it hit anonymous mode, that was going to be my savage mode. Like I wanted to stay very low key. Obviously, being in a showmance wasn't low key at all, but like trying to stay as low key as possible because I could, potentially be a target. And I felt like that worked out for me in the domain. Other than like outside the showmance, I kept it pretty low key, and I felt like I was pretty likable with everyone. And but in anonymous mode, I was like, I'm gonna go full on savage. One thing I feel like I didn't do a lot in the domain that helped my game out was that like I didn't really talk strategy that much with anyone. I'd be like, oh yeah, I think so and so's this and so is that, but I would never be like, we got to get XYZ out. I would
Sure.
say like I this past episode I was like definitely heavy on Bisma, but like I would never use that in anonymous mode. I'd never be like Bisma's got to go out. Like, because I knew if I'm talking about in the domain, I cannot say it in the chat. So that's something like you had to be really intuitive to like what you were doing. And you had to be very mindful, like what you say, and then like if it goes into the chat. So I would use like what everybody else was saying and put it in the chat so no one would figure out it's me. And I feel like that gave me success in anonymous mode.
How much more larger than life is Dylan in person than what we see on the show?
Dylan is I feel like you get a glimpse of Dylan's personality. 10 out of 10. He is literally the house Beyonce. You there's like more parts that you missed. I hope they like have an extended cut at some point and they show our little fashion shows that we were having, because me, Christopher, and Dylan kept having fashion shows like in
What?
between takes.
Oh my
Yeah, so we
God.
were having fun like when it was actually sunny, because you could see like there was days where it was like hot like during the day, and then all of a sudden at night it would get so cold because we're on top of a mountain and like we're all freezing to death. So like the days that was like hot, we were like living it up. So yeah, there's part unseen parts, but it was he's just such a great personality. And a lot of people I feel like started getting too heavy in the game and getting stressed out, and Dylan was like definitely like I don't want to say comedic relief, but like he was the relief in the household. He was like having fun. So was Christopher. Christopher was always having fun. He didn't like get too down on himself or upset about things. I would say Dylan brought the drama. Christopher brought the good vibes, and I think Marcel brought the laughs. Like I'm
Really?
telling you what, Marcel, like you don't get to see that like a lot on the show because obviously we got to cover a lot of characters right now. But Marcel like was definitely just making everyone crack up. Like I literally I felt like I got a six pack after the show because he made me laugh so much.
You're right. We're not seeing that. And like kind of the storyline right now is that the girls are sort of ganging up on Marcel, but I love hearing that there's kind of more than meets the eye with the show.
I, I feel like Marcel was someone who was like a little bit easy to pick on because we knew we could pick on him and it wouldn't like hurt his feelings. He was one of those people at first who was like, you had to like warm up to him. So I feel like he was a little overwhelmed and you can like see it. Like I feel like from the get go, some people's game, like they just needed to like warm up to everybody. And he was like one of those. Whereas like Christopher, he just had the hot personality to come out immediately. So
Speaking of Christopher, did you anticipate that you would kind of develop a little romance on the show? Did you tell yourself the one thing I won't do is kiss or make out with anybody on the show?
no, for me, like I told myself there's no holds barred. Like if I have like a connection with someone, I'm like very genuine when it comes to connections. Like I knew I wasn't going to use anyone in the house. Like obviously this game is about lying and you got to lie to really get through the game. I mean, Christopher played a really good, honest game. Um, but there's at some point we're all lying to each other. But like I feel like my feelings for Christopher and I know his were like very genuine from the start. We were had this budding romance and we were getting to know each other and it was a lot of fun. But like I didn't tell myself, oh, I'm not going to make out with anyone. I was like, who knows who you might meet in the domain? Like you never know who you meet in these reality shows. I get it. Like I've always been like the viewer and like seeing how like everyone interacts, and I'm like, you just never know what happens, and I just didn't want to like I don't put it on myself any restrictions on myself. I should say that I didn't have any restrictions. I was like, I'm gonna play the game as it is. If I form genuine showmance, then go for it. Like I didn't care if I kissed him on TV, which I did. So.
Showmance. I love that phrase. I haven't heard that one before, but that's proper. Did the experience of being on a reality competition show like this, did it meet your expectations, surpass them? Like going through it already, like what's your sort of overview on the entire thing?
Well, I mean, it was a lot different experience than modeling because I came in it to the mindset was like the closest thing I have to going on like a TV show was like my modeling experience and like commercial modeling and where we shoot videos and stuff and like I'm like okay, this is I'm just gonna connect to that. But it was completely different. I mean, obviously you're being filmed 24/7, being filmed while you sleep, just in case to catch the drama. Uh, the mic, you always have a hot mic on you, so they can catch anything you say. So you have to be very mindful, like what you're talking about in the house, like especially if you don't want to be like caught saying anything crazy. So like, it's just the whole time and like you don't have the whole experience where like I didn't have my phone, I didn't have contact with the outside world. You're
Oh my
really like
gosh.
involved in the game. So it's just like I forget I like when we were filming, it was my birthday. I kind of forgot a little bit. Like you kind of forget what's happening in that real world, and you're so caught up in the game. It's crazy. Like it's just a whole new experience. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like I felt like the cast was such a great cast. Outside of like the games and the scheming and the tactics and like getting out people and eliminating people, putting people at risk, like we're all good friends like outside of the show. Um, but it is funny like now watching back and like especially for me like seeing Jack like come up against me so much like I thought we were best buds and it's just funny like how you saw everybody in the show like while you were like in the domain and now like watching it back you're like oh wow that's why everything was like people are being sketchy or like doing one thing and saying another so like it's very interesting watching everything back and watching myself back but I enjoyed the experience and I'm super happy I did it would love to do another show after this now that I have like more insight that I need to bring more warm clothes next time because I definitely didn't. Yeah.
Tease for us without giving any details. Tease for us what fans can expect through the remaining episodes.
I feel like you're gonna see some people who hadn't been doing well in anonymous mode start doing well in anonymous mode. So I feel like a lot of fans and a lot of viewers who are watching right now are gonna be shocked about who starts doing really well.
Wow.
Um, yeah, I feel like you're gonna see some people who are very loud in the house go pretty silent and stir up even more drama. I think we're gonna get a lot of we're gonna get a lot more sass in the house. And I feel like emotions are gonna start getting more heated. The showmance might have some discrepancies. So that there's a lot more emotions flaring as the episodes start winding down. But yeah, I feel like the big thing is a lot of people who hadn't been doing well in anonymous mode, the tables turn. So yeah.
That's exciting to hear. The
Yeah.
Anonymous is airing Monday nights on the USA Network. You can also stream previous episodes on the Peacock streaming service. Also, check your local cable listings because I found all the episodes on my cable provider. So that was really helpful and efficient. Victoria, congrats on making it this far. I'm glad you're safe on the last episode, and we'll see what happens to the rest. I am very excited. Like I mentioned, my new favorite reality TV competition show. It's wonderful. My entire family is hooked on it, so we can't wait to see the rest. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it.